Hello everyone, and welcome back to WaverlyReads. So, this face is something. I don't really know why I'm filming like this. I decided today was going to be the day that I practiced my makeup look for gender bending PT bond that I'm going to wear to a Halloween party that I'm going to at the end of this month. It's October, so why not dress up for another? You're expecting this a lot from me for this month because I love Halloween. And this is what I've come up with so far. It's not perfect. I decided that I'm going to film like this because that's better than just taking it all off and then reapplying a new layer. I'm just going to film in this and then I'm going to take it all off. The video isn't Halloween themed at all. This is just my September wrap up to film like this because I don't want to change my makeup. Also, I kind of like the way it looks, so maybe for the entirety of October I'll just have obscene makeup on. Obviously not every day, but every time I film I'm in. I'm bringing you my September wrap up today. I read a total of 10 books in the month of September. That's because we did the first official Reading with the Seasons readathon at the beginning of this month. There will be another one coming in December. The dates will be revealed closer to the time. I think we pretty much have the date sorted anyway, but that's why I read so many of these, because we had a 24-hour readathon, which I know this pile isn't exactly aesthetically pleasing with the sizes and the different colours and the hardback and the paperback and stuff like that, but these are the 10 books that I got into reading in the month of September. I threw them with you as much as I can. I can't remember what some of these are about because I read them feels like so long ago, but went so slow. Makeup is so obscene, I don't know if anyone's actually going to click on this video. The first 5 books are in the 24-hour readathon that we did at the beginning of the month, and the 5 are from what I've read since then. The first book is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, E. Schwab as she's known. This book is cute as fuck. I think it may be a kid's book, just as YA, young adult, but I think it's more like 12-13-year-old, so maybe it's like a young teen book, but maybe not a kid's book, but young teens I think would enjoy this book a lot. It is what it is. It's a city of ghosts. This book follows a girl named Cass who is able to pull back the veil and talk to ghosts, and this is because she had a very near-death experience and now she can like talk to ghosts. She can go on to the other side where she can see every ghost. But she has this friend who is a ghost who has saved her from her near-death experience. She and her family go to Scotland to explore all of these haunted places because her parents are really into the whole haunted aspect as well, and I believe they have some form of TV show. Cass is overwhelmed by the amount of ghosts up in Scotland, and she meets this girl who has the same gift as her. She finds out that actually having this gift means that you're supposed to like help ghosts pass on, and Cass hasn't been doing that and she doesn't want her friend to pass on. During this book they find this really evil spirit that they have to like get rid of because she takes children, kidnaps children, and probably kills children. It's kind of like the Woman in Black vibes, but it was cute. It was a really fun read and I read it very, very quickly. The next book I read was a reread, and that was 4 by Veronica Roth. Actually, Midnight picked this book out for me and I just really wanted to dive back into the world of Divergent. I loved it. I'm not going to go into depth about what this is about. It's just a collection of short stories based in Tobias's point of view I really, really like it. I like this book because Tobias is one of my favourite characters. So the next book I read I didn't actually finish, and that was Celia by Catherine Robbins. The only reason I still have this book is so I can put it into this wrap up and the end of the year wrap up, and then I'm getting rid of it as soon as I finish filming that end of the year wrap up. This is leaving my presence. I don't even want to speak about it anymore. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you will know that I have been haunted by this book forever. I read it in school. I'm not sure if I finished it, but it inspired my first published book on Wattpad. I started reading it in school and then I kept thinking about it and kept thinking about it and kept thinking about it after I left school, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Eventually I found it, put it into the 24-hour readathon as we did a challenge of a book that you read in school. I got 180 pages in at 11, which is 182, which is just over halfway, but I had to DNF this book because there are so many problematic things about it and I don't want to go into it. Wouldn't recommend this book. Just don't read it. I'm getting rid of it as soon as I possibly can. That book kind of put me in a bit of a slump. DNF'd in the morning, but for the rest of the day I only read 2 books. That one put me in a major slump and I did not want to read. But the next book I did end up reading was Progeny by Marie Lu. This is the sequel to Legend by Marie Lu, so I can't really go into much about what this is about, but Legend is about a boy named Day and a girl named June, and Day is suspected to have murdered her brother. Her and her brother were like involved with the government, so she is set on the case to go find Day. He's already a wanted suspect because he failed his test, and if you fail your test they basically eliminate you. There's also a very serious virus going around that they're trying to cure, and there's just a lot that goes on in this book. It's a very dystopian book. So June is set to go undercover and try and find Day and eliminate him because he is suspected to have killed her brother. This is the sequel to that, and I enjoyed this so much. I think I may have enjoyed it a little bit more than Legend because a bit more happens and it's not just based on that I just told you. I almost said a complete spoiler. cannot do that. I do like this book and I do want to read the last one. I think there's just one more. I'm pretty sure it's just a trilogy. Next book I read and the last book I read in the readathon was Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. I can't remember too much about what this book is about, other than it's set in this world where a few select people have these powers and they are marked as Grishas. It follows Alina, who has a very rare and special power, I think. And I can't remember too much what this is about, but I remember it's a lot of I remember that it's a lot of world building, lots of betrayed trust, and it was a very emotional book. I read it through an audiobook, double speed, because I really wanted to finish another book before midnight, which I wish I hadn't done because I don't remember too much about it. I will go back and I will refresh my mind, so reading like the plot summary, spoiler wise, that before with audiobooks I've forgotten what they're about. I know that I really like this book and I would definitely read the second one because I want to know what's more without the world building. Because the next book I read outside of the readathon was Reflection by Liz Braswell. No, it's not, it's by Elizabeth Lim. It bugs me because it's the same series but it's written by this one book, not the rest of them. This one book is written by someone else. This is a Mulan retelling and it's what if Mulan had to travel to the underworld. So in this retelling, Mulan is still cross-dressing as a boy so she can be in the war to save her father, and when they're up on the mountain, Shang gets incredibly hurt and is basically on the brink of death. Mulan is trying to recover him back to health as the leader. I can't remember his name. You know that really whiny person with the beard and the clipboard, and he's like he says that they must leave Shang behind and it would be an honour for him to die for his country, but she decides that she's going to try to nurse him back to health. When all is looking very, very low, she sees Shang's father and he tells her there is a way to save him if she goes to the underworld. It's very intense and I really, really liked this book. It was very Halloween-y. I wish I waited till October to read it. Very Halloween-y. I feel the same way for City of Ghosts as well. That would have been great to read in Halloween. I love all of these. I haven't read one of these yet that I don't like. Then the Aladdin one, and I'm not even that into Aladdin. Yeah, this just engrossed my love for Mulan so much. I would like to see a movie on this one as well. This book I read was Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, the sequel to Illuminate and it's the second book in the Illuminate files. I can't really explain what these are about because these books are very, you have to read it to understand it. You can't even explain the plot of these books, but I definitely enjoyed this one more than I did Illuminate. I was definitely more invested in this book. I loved it so much. I think it made my favourite shelves. That's how much I love it. I brought Obsidio literally the day I finished reading this and I've got it on my shelf and I need to read it, but I'm too scared for this to end because I'm pretty sure there's only 3 of them. This was an amazing book, and again I can't explain what it's about because it's really difficult to explain what these are about. Definitely worth the read if you like sci-fi and if you like dystopia and it's futuristic. It's a great book. Definitely recommend it. Made my favourite shelf and I think it may be my favourite book of the month. Next book I read was The Survival Game by Nikki Singer. I was kind of disappointed with this book. I expected more from it than what I got. It's about this girl named Mari who is living in this world where it's post-apocalyptic. Everybody's pretty much dead or struggling to survive. It's at that point where they're trying to rebuild the society. She's originally from Scotland and she travelled away to a foreign country with her family just as the apocalypse was breaking out. She's trying to travel back. Her mum and her dad have died. She's all on her own. On the way back to Scotland, when she's just got into England, she comes across a boy who is a mute and she wants to help him and save him. So she illegally travels him across the board because he doesn't have any papers, and your papers are basically your passport. They should tell you who you are and what you do, and basically it's like a passport. He doesn't have any papers, so she has to smuggle him over the border without anyone finding out, but they get caught. They end up in this little facility thing for people that are criminal, like have done criminal acts and offences. End up breaking out. Case she ends up losing her papers as well. Doesn't have any papers. He doesn't have any papers. They're both basically illegal immigrants. Grandma lives in Scotland and that's who she's trying to get home to, and she just really wants to protect this little boy. I've explained more into that than what I probably should have. That's like half the book I've just explained. I can't explain any more because it does get spoilerish from there. I was kind of disappointed with this book. I did like it. It just wasn't amazing and I expected more from it. The next book I read was Thug or The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is an amazing book. I can't even explain how amazing this book is. This follows into so much truth, like hard, difficult truth that no one wants to hear about, but everybody needs to read or go watch because it comes out next month. I think November 9th, the UK, I think it comes out. I'm definitely going to watch this as soon as I possibly can. This follows a girl named Star who is a poor black girl living in the suburbs. She goes to this party, and on the way home from this party with her friend, they get pulled over by the police simply for being black. They weren't speeding, they weren't causing any trouble, they didn't have any drugs, they didn't have any weapons. There was nothing wrong. They were doing nothing wrong, and they get pulled over. The that she's with is named Khalil, and because he is he's a typical boy, he's got a bit of an attitude on him. He doesn't want to hand over his license because he's done nothing wrong, which he hands over his license, and because he's giving attitude, the police officer asks him to get out of the car, harasses him for no good reason. He tells him to wait by the car with his hands on the bonnet thing whilst he goes and like does something in his car. The police officer walks away, and Khalil opens the car door to ask Star if she's okay, and he gets shot from her eyes and killed. And this book is all about Star trying to like build up the courage to make justice for Khalil because he didn't deserve to die, and to end just hate and racism against black people and minority people. And it's a very racist based book and trying to get over the racism. I loved it, and I think everybody needs to go read this or watch it when it comes out because it is amazing, and I do want to do a movie versus book review on this. I'm excited to. I need to watch the movie because this was amazing, and I think everybody needs to read it. If you're uncultured into how racist, if you don't really know anything that's going on in today's day and age with the black society and police hate crimes, and definitely go read this if you're uncultured, if you want to know more about it, if you agree with it. Just definitely read this book. I think everybody needs to pick it up. The last book I technically finished today, which is Tuesday the 2nd, and I'm sorry that I'm including it in this one, but it just isn't going to fit in with my October wrap up. I'm basing the entire month on October and stuff like that. But I read The Air by Kira Cass. I did intend to finish this on the last day of September, but things happened. I went out, I didn't come home until late last night, so I didn't read it last night, and I had to read it today. It is the 2nd today, but it's fine, I'm including this anyway. But technically I started it in September, so I'm going to include it here anyway, just because I don't want it to stand out in next month's wrap up. This is the 4th book in the Selection series. However, this follows a different story-ish. It's more future wise than. I can't tell you what this is about, and there's no point me telling you what this Selection is about to explain this novel, because this novel is based on different characters. I didn't like it as much as I did the Selections, though I do like this character more than I like America. No, I'm back in Enthroned. There's a lot more independence in this, and I don't need no man, I can stand on my own 2 feet, which I really liked. And if you feel like the Selection is too like women need to bow down and stuff, well, this is based on women standing up and women coming into power than what the Selection is. So those were the 10 books that I read in September. My least favourite was most definitely Celia, but because I didn't finish that, I'm gonna say my least favourite was probably the survival game of the ones that I read. My favourite was Gemina and Thug. The rest of them were kind of neutral, but I liked pretty much all the books. I did like all the books I read this month other than Celia. So if you enjoyed this little wrap up, then please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I post a new booktube video like this every single Thursday. Not usually like this, but like this. And a new weekly reading vlog every single Monday. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Maybe looking something similar to this. Bye!